Mute up.
You will. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Barbershop Talk here on the Oaken. Good afternoon, Brother Lawrence.
Shalom, shalom. Good afternoon, and shalom to every all the gentlemen in the chat.
Yeah. Shalom, everybody in the chat. Well, thanks for coming out, Mike Shinnery. Say to everyone, don't forget to hit that like button on the way in here. Appreciate that. So I guess I'll start off with so Lawrence, what did you think of my my pre-recorded from earlier, on the subject of today, which is of course on the biggest lie told by church folks.
I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it so much that after listening to it, I let it wrap in my brain for 3 minutes. Went back and listened to it again. That's how much I enjoyed it.
All right.
It crosses so many different things. Not just from a church perspective, but from a secular perspective. Whether it be society, family relationships, just the world as a whole. It just fits in practically every measure you can think of.
Gotcha.
It it kind of blew me away, and it's been things like that topic especially has been weighing on me personally for like the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
And for a variety of reasons in a variety of situations. But yeah, that was strong. Actually, I was a little sad because I wanted more than 6 minutes. to be honest with you, but I figured the barbershop talk takes up every the space.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I want my pre-records and my initial subject matter to be shorter. That way it's catching. And it took me a while to actually think of what the title would be, and I figured that would be the best attention grabber I could get, to where to where like, oh, let's see what this is about,
Yeah.
and I thought that that would be the best thing I could do. So, like I said in the video, in the pre-recorded video I made, one of the biggest things you hear people saying is, it's our job. These church people saying it's our job to save souls, which is wrong. It's completely false, and it creates a grandiose, overestimated value of one's own self.
Hubris.
Yes. It's it's crazy to think that, and because it says, like I said in John 3:16-17, for God so greatly loved and dearly prized the world that he even gave his one only begotten son, so that whoever believes and trusts in him as Savior shall not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send the Son into the world to judge and condemn the world, that is to initiate final judgment of the world, but that the world might be saved through him. And the other thing here is the reason why I like reading from the Amplified Bible is whenever you look, and it's when it talks about his one and only, the wording here is so important because it's explaining the uniqueness of Jesus, because he is the only one of his kind created for this specific purpose. And so basically, whenever we get to Acts, and it says, and there is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven that has been given among people by which we must be saved. And in parentheses, it's got to explain, for God has provided the world no alternative for salvation. So Jesus is the way, is the only salvation through him. And then when we come back in John chapter 14, verse 6, where it says, I am the only way to God and the real truth and the real life. No one comes to the Father but through me, meaning himself. And then 23, when it comes back, and Jesus answers, if anyone really loves me, he will keep my word, meaning my teachings, and my Father will love him, and we will come into him. We will come to him and make our dwelling place within him. In 24, one who does not really love me does not keep my words, and the word meaning teachings, which you hear is not mine, but the Father's, but is the Father's who sent me. So basically, what he's saying there is, whenever you saying it's our job, my job to save souls, you're basically showing that, proving that the teachings of Jesus, which are actually the teachings of God, are not in you, and you are not of him. You are trying to basically, say that you are basically saying that you are the alternative for salvation by saying that, and no one else is. So that was very hearing so many, especially when we talk, and we've had these conversations before, and we talk about, it's been mentioned by others that talk about a lot of the corner preachers that try and condemn other people to hell, and all the crazy stuff they do. And telling somebody they're going to hell, you're actually trying to proclaim yourself as Jesus and God by trying to say you got somebody, that you got a hell or heaven to put somebody in. You are proclaiming yourself as the alternative to Jesus for salvation, which you have no right to. And it's crazy. Go ahead.
Not only do you not have a right to it, but you ensure that you're the ones who's going to go.
Yeah, you're putting your own.
Because you will be judged for that.
Yeah,
you will be judged for that. I mean, it's just that simple. And like I said, and we've seen everybody do it, whether it be regardless of who's on the corner, Catholic, Baptist, Hebrew Israelites, whatever.
Exactly.
I mean,
non-denominational.
Yeah, non-denominational, Muslim. We look, everybody's done that corner thing, pronouncing people going to hell. Everybody.
Yeah.
Every group has done it at least once. And we can go back throughout history to see that. This is not something new.
Right.
So yeah, just that alone, they're going to be judged for that as well. That's why and we've seen it work both ways. We've seen people ask you, with your faith and how you feel about people like that. And we've had people ask me about my faith in Hebrew Israelites and how they do that. And they get the same answer from both of us. We're not co-signing that. We're not co-signing. Yeah, we can't. We're not co-signing that, man. And like I've said, the Most High has already said at least twice in Scripture that I can recall, nobody's to count as people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if we're not allowed to count as people, that automatically means to me we're not allowed to count those who are not. He's going to decide who goes where at the end of the day. It's just that simple.
Right. It is. And Jesus, is basically your lawyer. He's your advocate who steps in and says, "Hey, look, I know this one. He's done a lot. He's done a lot to show that he's of me. He's done a lot to show that he's about the teachings that I brought to them, that you spoke through me, and he's all right by my side." And for people to sit up there and try to claim that somebody else is going to hell, or who is truly, or even who's going to heaven, because you don't have that ability either. It's blasphemy. It's arrogance. It's foolishness. It's just pure ludicrous. And What's going on, New? Appreciate you for coming in. And yeah,
Oh, news in here?
yeah, he's here.
Oh, I
And
see him. Oh, okay.
yeah,
What's up? Shalom, brother?
right. And that's my thing, Uh, the way I look at it, New, whatever your relationship is with that, whether you have it or not, that's your business. That's for you to work out on your own. The only thing that I can do here, as I stated in my pre-record earlier, the only thing my role is, or even Lawrence or anyone else that proclaims to be a believer, we only have two purposes. The first is to educate others about the only one who was created for that purpose, to be able to say where you're gonna end up, whether it's in hell or heaven. And that is to educate them on Jesus and his teachings, as well
Spread the
as
gospel.
not only others that don't believe or who do believe, but it's to educate ourselves
Yep.
on his life and principles for a life that's pleasing to him and God. The second is to be a living example of those teachings and principles, so that when others see you, and most importantly, when he sees you, there's no doubt about your character
Yep.
and principles in his eyes.
Yep.
That's
What did he
why I
tell
said,
us? What did he
huh?
tell us? What did he tell us? Be the light of the world.
Yeah. It's like, so the way I look at it is that when people see you, if you are supposed to be a believer and you're supposed to be about this life, that they identify you to him like they identify LeBron James to basketball. I mean, they could just look at you and say, hey, yeah, he ain't fake. He's real. He's about that. Um, and that's how that's how you know that these people that proclaim that we're in a business, our duty is to save souls. They're not about that. They're ignorant. They're either ignorant and dumb, or they're just full of shit. I got no other way to say it. They're just full of shit, and they have a grandiose, overestimated importance of their own selves and their own role.
Yep.
Um, I mean, that's the only two categories for those people.
And I've
Um,
lived and I've lived in both because I remember almost 10 years ago. I remember I went to visit my cousin for a week, hang out with her. We hadn't seen each other in a while, and we were talking about a subject similar to this.
mhm.
And I had talked to her, and I was telling her about what I want to do, what I want to try, how I want to go about it. And she looked at me. She said, "Why would you do all that?" Now this is a woman I'm talking to.
Mm.
Why would you want to do all that? Because usually you'd expect a different answer. I want to be peace. I want a part of that. I want, what I'm saying? But it wasn't like that. And I had said, well, you know, um, when it comes to God, we got to do this, we got to do that. She looked me dead in my face. She said, "So what you're saying to me is that you decided that God needs you, not the other way around."
Woo!
And I was like, "Damn." I was like, she messed me up real bad with that, man. For real, for real. And that's when you standing there with your mouth open and flies are going in and out because you have no
Yeah,
response to that.
yeah.
I mean, you literally had,
Wow.
and that's not just a me thing. That would happen to anybody. How do you answer that? Except because the only thing you could possibly say after that is I'm dead wrong.
Right. And and the other thing to point out what New was saying, it's very ironic when people do this too, because probably to me, one of Jesus's best disciples was Paul, who persecuted who persecuted and had Christians had these believers sent to their death,
Yep.
and was even trying to kill Jesus.
Hmm.
But you have these people who trying to tell somebody else who is going to hell, but Jesus affected this man and made him, probably to me, his his best disciple other than John the Baptist.
Yeah.
But John, he had fulfilled a purpose. His purpose was to fulfill everything before Jesus got there. He was spreading the truth before Jesus came into his role. And Jesus even, Jesus even in the beginning, he even he wanted John to baptize him, and John was like, hey, man, this should be the other way around. You ought to be the one baptizing me. And Jesus was like, no. He was like, not yet. He was like, you are the one for this to do me. And then, because John had to be the one to do it because he hadn't ascended to that point yet. He had, and then, once he went on and he came out, everything was supposed to be as it was. Then after that is whenever John became under his wing. But, for Paul to, in the beginning, be, be like he was against them, even sending them to their death. But you got people trying to tell somebody who is going to hell when the truth is the simple fact is that it goes back to my content I did on God's love. There is conditions for God's love, and the main one being time. So as long as someone's still alive, they have a as long as someone's still alive, they have a chance to go wherever it's going to be. They have that chance to be able to become a Paul. So for someone to try and condemn somebody else when you have no right to do so, no authority and no power to do so, I mean, it's just foolishness.
Yeah, because that particular study you mentioned that you did, I actually shared that in a conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, well, yo, man, I talk about your stuff all the time. Yeah. Because I find it a way to personally to get my mind a little straight on some stuff, and then I do exactly like you said a few minutes ago. You go out and you share that knowledge, and you hope it lands properly, like a mustard seed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I talk about your sermons all the time. Well, Bible study. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know you don't like that phrase.
Yeah.
But I know with that one, I had a conversation and with some of the guys, and we were hanging out in David's garage, and the women were doing whatever they were doing, and then they came out to listen, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But then they started questioning the thing about the conditions, and then it went straight into that Baptist church thinking about, well, he loves everybody and the conditions and stuff like that, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, here we go, they're gonna start throwing all that nonsense out, and I let them say what they had to say, and then my response was simple. I find it fascinating how you can sit here and say the Most High can't have conditions when every single one of us who are in love have conditions. I mean, it was just mind blowing because that's what their argument was. They didn't like the fact that there was conditions.
Right.
And I'm sitting here, but every relationship, especially when you talk about loving someone, whether it's children, spouses, mothers, fathers, we all put conditions on it. We all do. We're human. So for you to sit there and think that we can do it, but he can't have it, that's insane. I mean, it's the dumbest thing. I mean, that made absolutely no sense.
Right. and the thing is, they try and say that, but the simple fact is, I mean, time is the ultimate condition, but also actually being about it is the next, because it says in there, it says, there are no fence sitters. Either you're with this or you're not. That's a condition too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Excuse me.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I have no argument with that, and it fascinates me because when we look at the fuller picture, being here right now and the conditions we put on each other, and like I said, we all do because we're human. I'm not complaining about it. It's just what we do. But all aspects of relationships and love, especially, come with conditions always. And here we are, we feel we can put conditions on things and expect good outcomes and, whatever we get out of it. Yeah, we fail to accept the fact that his conditions will give us far greater things than what this world would give us on those
Mhm.
conditions, on similar conditions. You know what I mean? It was just a weird thing to hear them say
Right.
and talk, and not to not to put it all on them. Some of the dudes co-signed that too.
Man, look, yeah, yeah. You do have, yeah.
I don't want to make it about it's a female thing, because it wasn't. Some of the guys co-signed that as well.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
because well, yeah, and it just goes to show uh the false conditioning, um, just to go along to get along, to because either it is ignorance or it's complete foolishness and bullshit because they're going along to get along to so that way they don't have to worry about what they got coming there whenever everybody leave at home next. Which for me is one of the reasons why I can't do marriage. I can't do a committed relationship because I mean when you look at how the laws in this society are not in supportive of a man being the actual leader and ruler of things as he is designed to be. Um, whether you look at things from a scientific aspect, where men have always been leaders because of the simple fact physically they have the ability to enact dominance to how'd you say enforce a respect to that leadership. And then whenever you go to it, when you look at it from a sense biblically, when it explains that man was created for that purpose,
he gave
to actually lead. Yes,
yeah, well,
there is a
he gave us dominion. He gave us
right
dominion over the earth.
over
I
the
mean,
earth.
yeah,
Yes, and the simple fact is, it says in there, in the first two chapters, he gave him dominion. He is to, and the word says rule.
hmm
So in his absence, the pecking order is the man, and
hmm
she is created for the purpose of helping his purpose that he was given, whatever it may be. She is to serve that purpose.
yep,
It literally states she is created to serve that purpose.
right.
And
And
when
again, and the gift to her for serving that purpose
right,
would be progeny and protection and happiness and joy. I mean, it is what it is. And that's why I keep having conversations with people. Just because a woman is a helpmate and that's all, that's not said to be a diminishment. It's not.
no,
Because there's this logic that if you talk up men, it automatically means you're putting down women. That's not how that works. No,
no,
no, nobody in their right mind has a conversation about like that. Because the fact is when we talk about men and men's purpose, it's about what we're supposed to do. It's about the God-given abilities that we're supposed to follow through on. And when we say
right.
a woman is supposed to be a helpmate and be a wife and be a mother and take care of a home and stuff like that, for some reason people think that's putting somebody down, and
Yeah, it's oppression.
yeah, it's not like that at all.
Right. No.
Because in the truest sense of it, if you think about it, if that woman fulfills her role, every other dream she has comes true. It
Yeah.
literally comes true. She gets children. She gets a beautiful house. She gets a protector. She gets a man who loves and wants to doubt on her the same way she does in reverse to him. It's the system, and it's that's the way it's worked for thousands upon thousands of years. But now, looking at the way they're working it now, it's you can see the discord. It's just all messed up because people, and I'm talking about both sides here, are
Right.
playing parts they're not meant to play.
Right. Yeah. Uh
Hey, MOT, how you
yeah,
doing?
what's good,
Hey, what's
MOT,
going on,
man?
man?
Did you get a
Going on?
chance to check out my pre-recorded?
Yeah,
Okay,
I've checked out.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah, alongside with this subject, you have to understand that there's few men who's assisting in this process.
correct.
Um, they are assisting in the actual liberation of women, so to speak. And so, and these are the people who act just like women. Like they don't have track records. No, they're around trying to talk about things that they're not qualified to talk about. and trying to give power to somebody who don't need to be empowered. Like it
Right.
wasn't a woman's job to produce on the behalf of an entire household. That was never a woman's job,
No,
ever.
never, ever,
Like,
Right.
ever.
like,
No, no, no.
like,
You're right.
like yeah, like I knew my mother had a CDL, but I didn't find that out till way later on. You know,
Exactly.
after sometimes, my dad was like, "Could you go get the truck?" I'm like, "Well, where are we going?" Like, "Yeah, to go get the truck." Like, "You know how to drive those?" Like, "Of course I know how to drive those. I have a CDL as well." They're like, "What?" But she never drove truck because my dad was also a diesel mechanic as well. So she used to bring the trucks in the back if he was working on them or whatnot, and that's normally what she did. So we're talking about from the road or driving them around the corner, not really driving them as as an
As you
aside
do.
for yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, for a living. Yeah,
But
and
but
it's
but
like
but but see, that's the funny part because I don't know if you recognized it or not. You probably did, knowing you. But she fulfilled her purpose. She was a
yeah,
helpmate. She wasn't there to do the job, but she was there to help assist in it. You see what I'm saying? So she fulfilled her purpose. She was a helpmate.
yeah. I mean, like going to get the truck is no different than going to get water or bring him a type of socket wrench if she's out there. Like it wasn't that wasn't her job to be full on taking on the duties of.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, it was never meant for that.
Right.
So thank you.
Hmm.
Exactly. That's a great point, and her doing so, that was her assisting him in what he was doing in his purpose in his life, which is what she was created to do. I mean, even whenever you get to what is it, Timothy, where it says, I permit no woman to lead. And matter of fact, as far as in the church setting, she's supposed to be quiet as to
Yep.
not disrupt from the education and learning of the men.
Yep.
And it states in there that the women are supposed to get the women while the men handle the men. No woman is supposed to be correcting or instructing a man whatsoever.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. And you did
that's how it's supposed to be handled.
yeah, and you did a video on that one time because I remember
Yes.
being there. And even before that, we had conversations similar to that on another channel months ago. Like beginning of the year or end of last year, something like that. But yeah, that's one of the that's a big issue, especially for me.
Yeah.
I can't speak for other men, but that's a big issue for me. Um, to have a female come in there and tell me what she defines that I'm supposed to be as a man is absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing applies to us when it comes to women, because well, you're sitting here saying all this stuff about how we're supposed to be, and yeah, okay, we're not telling you what to do. We're simply telling you what Scripture says you should be. What you do with that is on you.
Right.
But you're
Exactly.
not going to come in here and tell me what my responsibility is as a man. Tell me hey, what kind of man I'm supposed to be about. Tell me what kind of man I'm supposed to be for your sake. That's not how that works.
Right.
That's not how that works. Because first of all, if you have to tell me what kind of man to be, then obviously I'm not the one for you.
Mm.
I mean, right out the gate. If I'm not already what I'm supposed to be for whatever you're looking for, then you're wasting your time. Keep it
Right.
moving.
Well, and to be honest, technically, um, she's really supposed to be whatever the man actually needs to be.
Well,
Um,
that's true. Yeah, that's
uh,
part of the helpmate thing. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. I mean, that's just how it goes. Because of the simple fact, I mean, he's the one that has to decide whether or not she's even worth his time. But but yeah, I mean,
Because that's
trying to
another
get
problem. Because that's another problem. Okay, they have this theory in their head that they choose us. That's not how it works. We choose them.
right, right. Um, and that's the thing, This is why it's another reflection of the hubris and the ego of these people. Why I wanted to do this whole subject on the biggest lie. Whenever they say our job is to save souls, I mean we can't save anybody.
Nope.
Only thing we can do is give them the best information that they can have to be able to make a choice whether or not they want to do it or not. And that's the best. That's the best you can do. Our job is to lead the horse to the water. We can't make it drink.
Nope. Nope.
But, But while we got everyone, I want to thank everyone who's come out and come into the barbershop talk. Thank y'all for listening. I just try and bring this truth in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives, that that we can take away from here to better fit our lives and make them better, make them to the best that we can. I don't proclaim to be no preacher or anything like that. I'm just trying to bring information to help, if further our education. I mean, anybody who can show me something wrong where I'm going wrong, I invite it, because the simple fact is I like to expand my thinking. I want to be the best that I can actually be, and be just be that. I just want to bring this truth as it is, and show and do it in a way that it can be applied to everyday lives. I know there are many people who don't believe whatsoever, but I like to bring out the truths that are in this book to show, that there are things that, the church doesn't show where it can be applied in our everyday lives. Everything is always taught from an emotional standpoint instead of an application standpoint. Because the simple fact that the information that's in there, if you can't apply it to your everyday life, it ain't worth a damn. But thank y'all for coming out. I want to tell everyone, hit that like button. If you haven't, share the content and subscribe to the Oaken. Appreciate it. Lawrence, man of tomorrow. I guess okay.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I was waiting for you to finish what you were doing. But but like I said, in the beginning, when you started the stream, this applies to everything. Not just church, but in a lot of things that we do in our daily lives, or our dreams and hopes and plans and stuff like that. And like I said, it's not a gender thing. Both sides do it. I'm not going to get here and I'm not going to sit here and get into the semantics of who does it more or less,
right?
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Both sides do it. I mean, seriously, that's really all it comes down to. But I find myself, I don't know how to phrase it. I don't know how to phrase it. How about this? How about you and MOT go for a minute while I get my thoughts together?
Okay.
Because I'm sure what I'm going to say is going to be a little heavy. So I want to get the words right.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
To me, this subject, it goes really hand in hand with a lot of what MOT says about making creating this better society. In the simple fact of talking about the track record of people, you just can't allow anyone in. And that track record, is important. It was in my final statement of saying, whenever people see you and you're supposed to be of this life, they ought to be able to automatically associate you with that in a positive way. And that, hey, this guy, everything I see about this individual, they're that. They show that. They show themselves to be that every time I'm around them, every time, I see them, every time I hear them talk. They haven't deviated from that. They should be able to identify you like they identify like I said, like they identify LeBron James to basketball. It's no question about it. It's something that when you see it, it, and you don't have to question it whatsoever. I don't know. I think MOT may be a little bit busy. I know he's picking up a load and everything right now. So
yeah.
You got a little bit of your thoughts together, or you still need a little bit more time?
Yeah, I think I got it together. I think I got it together. Hopefully, I'm not going to ramble with it, because I do that.
It's cool.
You got to know your weaknesses. Sometimes I do that.
It's cool.
What I was going to say is, outside of the church, it applies equally as well. Especially when we start looking at it from a man's perspective. In the sense of using the manosphere as an example, in which we try to help brothers and we try to do the best we can with them. But there are moments when we have to learn to let it go and move on, because, you know, we fall into that trap that you're talking about where we think it's our responsibility to save somebody.
Right.
And it's not. Our
Right.
job is, and that's where the difference comes in. We make the mistake of equating helping someone with saving someone.
Mm.
That's our fallacy and our weakness right there. Because to help someone is literally that. You put whatever cards you have on the table, you point them in a direction that's necessary. If if possible, you can guide them to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
sort of in a mentor capacity or something like that. But the problem we have is that we have a tendency to make it more than that, where we think we have to save this person from end all be all, and
Yeah.
you fall into two types of traps that way. The one is you make yourself responsible for somebody else's actions, which is never supposed to be the case. Or you put yourself in a position where you teach that person to become dependent on you, so that every time they do something, if it goes wrong, they come running back to you to save them yet again. So neither one of those scenarios are good, and neither one of those scenarios are meant to be.
Right.
You
Right.
know. So those were my thoughts. Hopefully, I put them together properly. but
Uh,
but those were my thoughts in that capacity.
yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That was a good thought.
And look at
Because
that, less than 30 seconds. Look at that, less than a minute.
hey, I don't mind. It's no problem. That's one thing. Agar and I talked about. We don't mind when you and Judge y'all get to going. Because y'all and checking for you and Morning Blue, when y'all start going, y'all drop a lot of good knowledge and facts. That ah, people they just want to take in, and they want to take in and look at how they can apply it to their lives, and use it to the best of their abilities. So no, when you go, it doesn't bother me at all. I just let it flow, and we go from there, and I try and bounce off of it.
Yeah,
And ooh,
yeah. But Judge Ziller and Morning Blue and Checking for You and a couple other guys. Forgive me for not naming them off the top of my head, but I enjoy those moments. I really do, because it doesn't become. I mean, I know people are learning, but it doesn't feel like a classroom. It's just we're talking and we're going with the flow of it. And if people pick up information, that's wonderful. And the benefit of that is that we actually get to live exactly what's supposed to be, passing that knowledge on. There's a beauty and a joy in that, you know. Because some of us don't have children, so there's
yeah,
nobody to pass that on to. Some of us that do have children, we don't have sons, like myself, so there's
hmm,
nobody to pass that on to. At least from a man's perspective.
gotcha.
So to be in a space where you can just have a general conversation, and you and Aegon especially, are very gracious with just letting us roll with it. You know what I mean? So I mean that's a good thing to me. I enjoy that, and
No problem.
I dare say I think the other guys do that too. So on behalf of myself and them, if they allow me to speak for them, yo, thank you for that.
Oh yeah, no problem. Like I said, I don't have a problem with letting people go who have valuable information to bring that we all can learn from. There are things that I know and there are things that you all know better. Man of tomorrow.
I, mean, I just came back from inside, man. You can go.
I knew you've been
Yeah,
busy.
yeah.
But yeah, I was bringing up a point earlier about how to me this fit exactly with what you talk about, the track record of people um being with them saying over estimating their own worth and ability by saying it's their job to save souls, when the simple fact is it's not. These people, they're showing that they're not actually of the teachings that they proclaim themselves to be of whenever they say that, because they're overestimating and overstating their own actual true purpose. And that these are people that they're doing it for two. They're doing it for one of two reasons, or both. Whether they're just ignorant and truly don't understand what they're reading, or they're just full of shit and they're lying, and they want to uplift their own selves and uh, glorify their own selves before everyone to receive clout from it, to where so they can seem important to everyone else and brand their own star or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I left the church itself, once I got high up in it, when I was overseas or whatnot, that's what it like me. I was raised as a fundamentalist Christian in Mississippi. That's what I was raised as, so a fundamentalist, Christian. But once I kind of got out of that environment, Christian went from the teachings of Jesus to toleration of nonsense, and that was your actual proof of Christianity: is how much nonsense can you stand being around you without really speaking up about it. And I never was raised around such nonsense before, and that's what the church kind of turned into once I started getting out of those environments and started moving into the regular world. And that's what kind of made me kind of move away from it.
Yeah, I get that. I hear that from a lot of people, and that was another reason why I wanted to make this channel to do just that. To show and see to show where the problems with that disconnect and where they fail. It's because just the full of just the wrongness there of how what's been going on for long. I mean, it's been going on forever. I mean, even when you read it shows that in the Bible, where Jesus was turning over tables at the synagogue because they was using it for gambling and everything else other than what it was supposed to be used for. So
Just like I'm doing in the manosphere.
pretty much, Brother Lawrence.
No, I mean, it's accurate. Especially what MOT said concerning the quote unquote manosphere. Because I got to be honest, my perspective right now there's not very much manly about it. But that's my opinion.
I'd have to agree.
And I don't see it. I don't see it being here long. I don't.
Yeah. Hey, take it over for a minute. Let me go to the bathroom and I'll be right back, brothers.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah,
I mean, now there's like two minds of thoughts about this that I'm gonna go over on my video about the manosphere. Okay, so there's two types of thoughts here, and it doubles with the same thing with the church, right? There is the original intent based on the text, and then there's a nuance. But nuance still have to be governed by the original intent. Otherwise, you lose the whole concept. And that's kind of, like where now you can have like trap music and all kind of nonsense being played in the church right now. Something I go to, in the South, it really isn't in white areas, at least not yet. But that's the only way they can get people in there. And it's like, I think if you just kicked out these single mothers and allow these grown-ups to actually act like grown-ups and have minimum standards, yeah, I mean, it'll be a larger congregation. But at the end of the day, you do want principled followers. You don't want unprincipled pretenders, pretending to be followers.
Well, agreed. But my thoughts right now on the entire situation, especially from what I've been looking at in the last handful of weeks, I don't see it happening. Because even if you got rid of all the single mothers, I promise you, within a generation and a half, we'll have them back again, because there'll always be guys who support that. As far as the men are concerned, they'll start off strong, but they won't follow through completely. Because I gave an analogy like that before. You can pick 10 people to do something with. 8 of them are gonna jump out just because they don't want to do the work. The last 2 you have left, one of them is going to get halfway there or almost to the finish line and just give up and walk away. So you end up with 1 person out of 10. That's my analogy to it. As far as it goes for the manosphere as a whole, personally speaking, it's done. I don't see, I mean, we could talk about 1.0, 2.0 all we want to. There will be no 3.0. This is done. Personally speaking, I give it 6, 7 months tops. But what it is right now and where it's going and what I've been seeing, I have no intention on being part of this at all
Well,
in any capacity. I don't see it making it.
well, I mean, the concept of what it was has already been destroyed. So, so like when there's a plane crash, there's two type of uh, res- rescues.
Hmm.
There's a rescue operation, and then there's a recovery operation.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
I'm really only trying to recover what the original intent was in that
I
sense.
don't. And I say this to you with all due respect because I respect you immensely. I truly do. And I respect that's what you're trying to do. I respect that that's the direction you're trying to go. Right now, again, unless something massively changes, which I seriously doubt, um, I don't see it. I get what you're trying to do,
No,
and I respect you for it, but
no,
I don't think it's going to work. I just don't.
like 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 Lawrence. I've already determined that not many people are coming along for the ride. Now, I've
Oh
already
yeah,
said 1 to 5% of black men can be saved. 1/10 of 1% to 1% of black women can be saved. That's going to be the new people who's going to be taking advantage of these opportunities and all these things around here.
right.
I'm not
But
doing
here's
this
the
for everybody.
no. I understand that. I'm the same way. I've had this. I've made the same commentary. I agree with you 100%. What I'm saying is until there's a viable way to literally separate those percentages you gave from the other percentages, it's not going to work because
Yeah, it does.
the influence from the larger group is always going to put constant pressure on the smaller group that you're trying to save. So unless there's a way to literally separate completely, which again I don't see a way to do right now. Um, I want it to work. What you're saying,
But
I
where they
truly
spend
do.
their
I
time.
just don't see how.
This is why. This, no. It's just that how I got to 18, 19,000 isn't how I'm gonna get to 100,000. I'd rather never
Mm.
see 100,000.
Agreed.
I'd rather see exactly where I am. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that. I get that. I mean, what you, like what you're saying is exactly what I'm attempting to do with the shelter concept that I have. So, like I said, I understand where you're coming from. I absolutely do, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. But until there's a way, like I said, to literally I separate, not just separate, isolate
No,
that small
that's
group
still a
that's
choice.
solid.
That's
Well, I
still a
know it's
choice too.
yeah. And to me, that's the only viable choice right now. There has to be a total separation and isolation of that positive group from the negative group.
Yeah.
And like I said, until that happens, I don't think anything else that we want to do can come into play. It might happen on small percentages. I mean, really
Yeah.
small percentages. But for
Yeah.
what
That's what it's gonna happen. Small
but for the
percentages.
num
Exactly how it's
yeah
gonna happen.
yeah but for the numbers we need, that we have to find some place where to go build something completely isolated from the rest of these idiots, put in those policies and procedures, and then take it from. Well, we're military men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
yeah, but because it's no different than when we have a useless asshole in the squad. You know what I'm saying? You separate him, then you start to isolate him until he get his shit straight.
Yeah.
And if he don't get his shit straight, then he gets removed from the service. That's just all it is. But but the thing is that right now, as far as it goes for the virtual space of Manosphere, I get the original intent. I really do. Um, but that's long gone. It seems to be a place where people get to come in and either look for entertainment, troll for fun, or just come in just to cause havoc or create
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is, as far as I'm concerned, 2.0 has been done for a while, but it's going through the death throes right now. I just don't see a 3.0 coming. I just don't. Um, not anything of value anyway. I just don't see it.
I mean, 3.0 is already here. People who conduct themselves not like 2.0, it's already here. It's just like
Yeah.
it's a such small number because what happened to the Manosphere is 2.0 brought in the dregs of black society. That's what they brought in.
Oh, absolutely,
They brought them
absolutely.
into the temple. They
Oh
brought them
yeah,
into the
absolutely.
temple.
Yeah, yeah. They brought him into the temple when the only people in the temple are supposed to be the priests. I mean, that's exactly
Correct.
what they did.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean,
That's yeah.
they literally brought in Black Death into the walls of the city.
Yep, yep,
That's what they did.
yep.
I mean, but
Yeah.
guess what? That's fine because at some point, people are going to need to be represented with everything that they swore to stay away from.
Well, the thing is that if you're right and you're saying 3.0 is here, and
Yeah.
I'm not challenging that at all. But if 3.0 is here, then there is a responsibility that those who fit that category, or those of us who are in that category of 3.0, we have a responsibility because to some degree we played a part in what happened in 2.0 by allowing particular types of people to come into our house, to
You,
be on our panels, etc., and so on. So we have to be a lot
that's
tighter
why that
with
had
that.
to be a
Yeah.
3.0. Just think of it like the Protestant Reformation. That's all it is. Every iteration was a Reformation. You had
I get,
1.0 who went through some stuff. You had 2.0 who reformed and decided the monetization piece they got, but what they had to monetize it with was something that destroyed the concept. So the Reformation at 3.0 is getting rid of all the bad things of 2.0 and still going forward.
so how would
And
you so how would you go about getting rid of that? Because like anything else in life, it's easier said than done.
no, I mean, look, people are going to show up and watch what they want to watch.
True.
And what I've done was stuck to the mission
Right, right, right.
and not go see what's going on in other spaces or other places for that matter. I pretty
Yeah.
much purged myself of most people within the so-called manosphere. Like, there's not a lot of channels I go to anymore.
Yeah, I've
I've
done that as
unsubscribed
well.
to damn near all of them. And
Yeah,
guess
I've done
what?
that. Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what? I've been better off for it. I was
Yeah, I
able to
have too.
focus on what I'm doing and not worry about what's out there because the like it don't exist. But people in the chat will start to point out other people who said other things to other places, and I just have to block them. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting you said that because the last 2, 3 weeks I've done the same thing. I've unsubscribed from a lot of stuff, and
Yeah,
I've
that's
I've
all it
I've
is.
I haven't really been on panels the way I was initially. Some people are happy about it. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. But I have to. I thought to myself, I have to remove all this because it's the topics.
Yeah.
The topics are repetitive, and in a lot of cases, not only repetitive but unproductive. And the same thing happened to me that you said happened to you. Once I did that, I started feeling a lot better. I
Yeah.
started, I started focusing on a lot of other stuff that didn't matter. Because there's only been so many times you can talk about women. There's only been so many times you can talk about Pookie and Ray Ray. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially like I said,
And I
especially
don't
like I
have
said
these
a few
problems in my
minutes
personal
ago.
life.
Exactly, and that was another conclusion I came to because if I don't allow that in my personal life, why would I allow it to be put in my ear 24/7 through a stream? That's insane. Because I don't surround myself with people like that. I have no one in my world like that.
And
So
those people, I'm not trying to change their mind. In fact, I'm happy
exactly,
where they stand.
exactly, and that's why I was saying the concern I had, and I had this conversation with Eisen and a few other brothers that to some degree, like I said, we're responsible for it because we did allow it to some degree by letting him into our personal
Yeah.
spaces and our personal houses. And
I was part of it too. I was over there. I thought things were fun, but
yeah,
then it
yeah,
turned into something about me, and then I'm like, "Hey man, I don't allow dumb motherfuckers to do this type of shit around me. That's normally a death sentence.
yeah,
Normally, or
yeah,
like
yeah, exactly,
under
yeah,
normal
yeah,
circumstances. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
Right.
like I told Aegon, I think last night it was I had made a comment to him that you got to understand who you're dealing with here. You got a lot of keyboard warriors because a lot of them will
yeah.
say stuff in this space they'd never say to your face if you were on the street. I don't know if that's because of his age or his environment or whatever. But for those of us
No,
who are old,
it's
for those of us who are older, we grew up in those situations. You know damn well you wouldn't say that to my face. So we're not even gonna play that right now.
yeah, but everybody's here, so everybody can take it to that nth degree, and you're
Yeah,
kind of rewarded because you do stuff like that.
yeah,
Well, I think it's something to point out there. The truth is, though, that type of nonsense has been seen as a pinnacle in Black American society to be able
Yeah,
to pull off that type of nonsense, that
yeah,
foolishness, which is why, what New brought up in the chat of you having to rid yourself from it, from that type of environment and those type of people, to have that peace or that stability in your life. To be able, you have to get rid of those people. You have to get, not associate with them.
yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this and I'm not saying just myself. I'm sure it applies to a lot of other brothers here as well. For me, above all things, when I initially started, my thing was about women, not dealing with women, black pill all the way, yada yada yada. And now, after being here, I've come to realize it's not about them, and it shouldn't be about them. What it should be about is what I've been seeing: brothers who need help, brothers who need guidance, brothers who need people, other brothers that they can come to and talk openly and freely about what they're dealing with, what they need help with, if we can give them some guidance. And once I realized that, I started to get I don't know the word I'm looking for. I, I don't have a better phrase, but this is the best I got. It's not accurate, but I started to take it more seriously. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
yeah,
Because talking about chicks means nothing to me, but talking about brothers, trying to get them out of bad spots, whether it be helping them figure out child support, divorce, how to get their careers on point, who they can talk to, who they can deal with. That's got to be the focus. And once I realized that, I started to get a little more antsy when I would go to streams and see the same dumbass people coming in with the same dumbass narratives, trying to push the same dumbass techniques when they themselves know that it's dead wrong. And then I started thinking to myself, okay, so if we know who they are, we know what they do, we know why they do it, why do we let them come in our space to push that nonsense? They got their own to begin with, but why allow them here? So then after that, I started thinking, okay, so we're contributing to this, because if we keep letting them on panels, or we keep letting them say that nonsense in the chats, then we're complicit because we're allowing it.
yeah,
That was my thought process from beginning to now. You know,
yeah.
um, and I have issues with that. I also have issues with, and I've been guilty of this myself. Sometimes the way we respond to certain people and certain situations, we do our younger brothers a disservice because we're not showing them men in control.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? We move outside our frame. And then they start looking at us like, okay, so why should we listen to these dudes? They're no better than the other dudes, man. All emotional. It just keeps adding on and on and on, and keeps perpetuating the problem. Um, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take so long. I was just giving my thoughts. I'm sorry.
But you're dealing with people who have given up, who are
Mm.
specifically here to throw political bombs and grief the whole process for everybody else who it can actually work for. That's what they're here to
Yeah.
do.
Well, yeah. Well, misery enjoys company.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're here to do.
Yeah, yeah. Crabs in a
So they're not
barrel.
here to
Misery
fix
enjoys
any.
company.
Yeah, I mean, they're not here to fix or change anything because, like,
Mm.
all the normal nonsensical idiocy that they use to judge other people, none of that works for me. None of that works on
Yeah.
me. I have. What do you buy for the man that has everything? No, you can't get past me with any of that because I've seen
It's
these
it,
people before.
and it's fascinating. It's fascinating you said that, because what you just said literally is where my brain's been going lately. That's literally the direction I've been going. What do you do to the man that has everything? what what are you ever going to say to me that's going to make me get up tomorrow morning and not do what I'm going to do anyway? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just that what people have to understand is separation is not only a physical locality type thing. Separation is also an emotional and mental locality type thing too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the mental is probably more important than anything else. Because like I said, you can take somebody out of the ghetto and put them in the suburbs. That means nothing if they don't change their mentality. It just doesn't.
Oh,
They're just going to
like I
bring that
said, man, we was
attitude with them.
overseas. You had gang banging and all that stupid shit going on in the dorms. The
Yeah,
people
yeah,
over in another country, peace and freedom everywhere. A lot of people just refuse to leave the dorm room. In Germany, you meet up at the bowling alley. There's a trip going to somewhere every weekend that be back by Monday. And it always left during 3-day government holidays. People
yeah,
refused to go to them, and they were free. They were 100% free.
yeah,
They
yeah,
refused to
yeah,
go to them.
yeah. I believe it. I believe it. I absolutely believe it. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's worse when you were in, but we
Oh,
had a little bit of it when I was in. But I don't think it was to the degree that you saw, but it was still enough. So
yeah.
it was insane because when I was in, we had you know the top ones at the time were the Blood and the Crips. So you had people in there who was part of that. Then you had the white, the standard white supremacist crap. But yeah,
Yeah.
it exists. I'm pretty sure it was worse when you were in than when I was
Oh,
in.
yeah.
But
Oh,
but
yeah.
nonetheless, it was there. Um,
But, here's the thing that they didn't get that I had to learn way later on. They couldn't handle being in a new environment. They had to recreate their own environment somewhere else because they weren't confident in a new environment. So the only thing that they wanted to do was create that 15, 16-year-old struggle that they were in because that's where comfort was.
well, yeah,
Comfort was not
absolutely.
with peace. They could
Well, yeah,
not.
yeah.
They could not digest peace. Peace was boring to them.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's obvious. I mean, because you were going to get that because I mean, first of all, that's a sign of weakness right out the gate.
Yeah.
Especially mental weak. I mean, you have no mental fortitude. Seriously, that's what that was right out the gate. But yeah, we had a lot of them do that as well. Try to recreate the conditions of where they came from to where they're at now, and it never worked out well for them. So it
No,
is
I mean,
it is what it is.
what it is to take this to comic books. It's kind of like the Flashpoint paradox. The first time he retried the experiment again.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
correct. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's correct. That's exactly what that is. That's exactly what
yeah.
that is.
Wow.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
Wow, that's that's a great point right there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's and that's a lot. That's what happens pretty much every time, which is why you have to leave these people behind because all they do is they infect everyone else with their poisonous mindset and their, their poisonous attitudes as well as just the poisonous things they do. It infects everyone with that, and you bring that same mentality to a place where you were supposed to be getting away from it, but the only thing you've done is just migrated it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And like I
yeah,
said, like I said, I've been guilty of it myself because I look back on some of the streams I've been on, some of the panels, and some of the things that I've said and done. I was picking up some of those habits. Because if
yeah.
you look at the first time I showed up, as opposed to how it went weeks and months after that, I was I was talking totally different. Because like I mean, not to stir anything up, but you bring on Platinum and the other guys. That's not what you saw in those streams. That's not how I generally handle them in real life. It just isn't. It just isn't.
Oh my
I'm
God! Did you talk to them or something?
yeah, yeah. On a couple occasions, I did. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
but in real life, I would never even waste a breath on these dudes. I would simply get up and walk away. And I'm walking away. Oh, so you're a punk, you a coward, and I would keep walking because those words mean nothing to me.
No,
But for some,
no.
but
I
for
ran
some
into the
reason,
same thing a
yeah, yeah,
couple of
yeah.
times. Yeah.
Because if you remember, the first time it ever happened, it was on your channel, MOT, with Sirism, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and these people know what they're doing, and they're only here to make things worse for everybody else. They want to
Yeah,
see you drop into the same pitfalls of where they are. Now, me, block, 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 unsubscribe, unsubscribe, unsubscribe. I see your
yeah,
ass here in any shape, form, or fashion. Your ass is out of here. My channel for a specific type of speech.
yeah, exactly,
That's it.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing else.
exactly, exactly. And yeah, and that was the point I was making earlier. That 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 I wish, and I'm pretty sure there are some. I don't know who they are, but I wish more people would start getting into what you're doing, because that's going to be required to move to the 3.0 you're talking about.
Yeah,
Because
that's what it is. That's what it is.
like I said, up until then, like I said, at the end of the day, you know, to some degree, we were collaborators by giving them an opportunity to voice that nonsense in quote unquote our space. So
Yeah, yeah, but I thought that setting fires to fireproof people would somehow harm them at some point. Nope, incorrect.
nope,
Yeah, it makes me think about when we were on Agon's panel that time, and and you were talking about doing different things because you were like, man, it's only so many times that you can go upside these Negroes' head, and then you're like, wait, am I taking the beat? And I was like, yeah, you're taking
yeah,
the beat too.
yeah, and Eisen, you and I have talked about this, and I'm sure MOT Zero, everybody, men of intelligence have had this same conversation. You can't save everybody, but what's more important is everybody shouldn't be saved. You understand what I'm saying?
Well,
I mean, real is real kept. You can't save everybody, but more importantly, there are people who just aren't supposed to be saved. They are
right.
who they are. They will be who they will be, and there's nothing short of death that's going to change them. And I dare
So
say, if they died and went into the next phase, they probably take it with them there too. I mean, it's just retarded.
so to bring up I guess to hammer home your point, the simple fact is because everybody can't, you shouldn't even worry about trying to to save
Exactly.
those that can't be saved. Just leave them with their kind, and
Exactly.
to highlight a point that Zero made here. Some things can't be discussed in person. Emotional people will make it impossible, and he's right.
Yeah,
These
he's absolutely right.
these conversations that we have here with each other, these are people that we've come to respect through like minds and through actual unemotional discussions, but logical discussions on how we can actually keep ourselves sane from regardless we're dealing with these people. We understand that you can't have these conversations in real life with these people because they don't want to hear it. Like he says, anyone should be able to express their opinions, but that
Hmm.
doesn't mean a conversation is possible. True.
No, that's true. That's true. There's two things. There's two things here that are important. Um, One, what Zero said about conversation. As a people, we forgot how to have conversations. That's number one. Number two, as a people, we've forgotten how to have debates, because neither
Yeah,
because they're both, conversations and debates are not the same thing. Well, for some reasons, a lot of people think they are, but they're not the same thing. But the fact of the matter is that we've lost the ability to do both. And
yeah,
that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
yeah.
Just going back to Friday on your last stream, MOT, um, listening to Edward. Okay,
Yeah.
there is
Oh my God.
there is no hope. Okay, and that wasn't even a debate. That was a conversation. That wasn't even a debate. It was a conversation. There was certain moments he tried to turn it into a debate, but overall, it was a conversation. You cannot have a conversation with someone who doesn't listen, because that's the point of a conversation. You have to talk and listen. You have to do both. You can't just do one. And when when you're having a conversation with someone and you ask someone a question, instead of giving that time out phase for yourself to give the person the opportunity to answer it, you answer it for them. That's not a conversation. I mean, it was just, it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely weird.
There's two or three things going on here, and when I explain to people how simple it is, they don't believe me. One, you cannot reason with a closed mind. There is a
Absolutely.
lot of people who present themselves as open-minded until you touch the third rail of their entire existence of why they're here.
Hmm.
Second,
Mm.
a protected form of ignorance is not factual information.
This is true.
And what they want to do is they want to provide their household ignorance where they rule the dominion into the open society where they don't run the dominion. And they want to have the respect inside of their house, outside of their house. And it's like it doesn't work that way. And you
Nope.
try to and you try to again reason with a closed mind. It's it's kind of like refuge in the mouth of a lion. At the end of the day, your head is still in the mouth of a lion, and it's not a good place to be. And
Hmm.
a lot of these people join the conversation in order to shut conversations down. Because as Zero said, and as I said, the answer to this is very easy and it's very simple.
Yeah,
It's,
I
it's,
can't. I
it's,
can't.
it's very easy and very simple. It's either you want to deal with better options or you want what you think is better information to deal with the same options. There's
Mm.
Yep.
not any other choice here.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Eh,
absolutely true. And there's no way around that.
yeah.
I mean,
No.
you can haggle and negotiate all you want to, but it comes down to those two things.
Yeah. It's very true. Yeah. And most of the time you find out that all it is that people they don't actually want to change. They only want their circumstances to change.
Absolutely.
And that
And
Absolutely.
they want to,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's kind of like, they want to be at the end of the game, but they want the new game plus without beating the last boss.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Wake up in the morning, see a new company, and without any background, just want to be the CEO of it. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
yeah.
fresh start, fresh start without the work. And it's
Yep.
like, and this is what's kept a majority of these people on the field. Like a lot of these men have to realize you have been severely emotionally and physically neglected by the opposite sex within this society. And they
Yep.
are here within this environment to prey on the fact that you've never had any other choice but them.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, and I've said that since I got here. I don't believe. Look, if women are here to listen to what we're talking about, then great. Sit in the chat, be quiet. But you shouldn't have a voice on a panel. I don't care about hearing a woman's perspective on what's going on because we've been listening to that. Your generation, my generation, and the generation before me, and the generation before that. We already know their standing on this. So their interpretations or points of view mean nothing to me because it's the same thing, on a different day.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
so
it's kind
so
of like
so so
how
so 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 we've been yeah, and if we're gonna put all the cards on the table, we have to call it for what it is. We're emotionally compromised, we're mentally compromised, and
yes,
to some degree we're physically compromised. Because
yes,
unlike any other man on this planet, we're getting bombarded by everybody, everything, including our own. Literally. We are
yeah,
compromised beyond belief. And then when those of us who wake up and so to speak smell a coffee start realizing what's going on and we start implementing plans and moves to circumvent that and try to get as many brothers who fit that mold to come along with us, it's exactly what you said, MOT. They'll hear it, they'll see it, and then they'll start sending in the dregs of society to come tear
yeah,
it down.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the bunny rabbit and the rattlesnake. You got to take both, but they got to be in the same bag, and you can't
mhm.
separate them.
Yep. Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely, and that's why I say what I do, and I've been saying it on other channels, and I've been saying it before I even gotten here with you guys. Women do not belong in men's spaces on panels. They just don't. It defeats the purpose of it being a man space. It either causes a distraction because you'll have all the dudes in there trying to get the hook up and figure out who they are, or they're telling us stuff that at the end of the day, either A, we already knew, or B, we don't care.
Well,
For me, I don't see any point to it, and that's not a personal thing. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not saying I don't ever want to see them or anything like that. This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if man space in and of itself is sort of a church, and if the same rules apply in the church, that when men are talking and teaching each other, women sit there quietly. They have no say so.
I mean, but this is what I don't get. There's so much wrong with women. I don't know how they have the spare time to come over in our space to speak at all.
Well,
I don't
what I
understand it.
what I goes back to an example that I've had, and I've dealt with a variety of women. When I've asked women, why do you have so many male friends? And their response is, well, I don't trust women. My response to that is, okay, well, if you don't trust them, why should I?
Zero brings up a good point. That's true. But this ship has sailed, so they can be used to expose the men that you don't need to be around.
Correct. And that's why I want the women here. That's why I want even more women here.
Okay.
Listen, yes. I mean, because look, you can either find out while you're in the field, or you can find out in basic training that you got the wrong people around you.
That's true. That is facts. That is facts. That is facts. Yes.
You know what?
That is facts.
And the other thing is too, what you have to think about, Lawrence. They call it a male space, but really and truly, it's a co-ed space. I mean, they're just saying it just to be saying it. It's for the most part, it's really not. We all know, like Zero said again, they want these females around. So they just say it just to say it. And as soon as they come, then you get to see exactly who they are and what they're about.
Well, yeah, that's true. Because that does happen with the quickness. That happens with the guy. I mean, it happens within the first 5 minutes of her being on the panel. That's for sure.
Like I said, the mere presence, regardless of look, the guys will let you know that they're in the wrong space. Like there's a lot of typical guys you don't see chatting in my space anymore because I just start going through my whole live frame. Oh, okay, block. I mean, because I used to never look at the actual chat because I think it disrupts from my train of thought. And then it took me a while to learn how to do kind of both. Because that's a skill that I don't have and I didn't have it for a while. And then I started noticing all the absurd nonsense that was going on in the chat. And it's like, look, I think there's only maybe 3 women that I can name on my hand who comes in my chat and says something. Melody, Woman of the Past, and what's the other one? Forgot.
Sister George?
Yeah, that's it. No, not anymore.
No. I about to say it's been a long time since I've seen her in there.
No, it's what's her name? Naima Buckner. Whenever she's around.
Yeah, that's right. Naima does come in there. I forgot. It's been a while.
That's it. Just 3. And
okay.
That's typically hot because I do like a male like my channel is not supposed to be this successful. People don't understand. For a self-improvement based male going forward based channel, my channel is not supposed to be this successful.
It's
especially
not.
that's black related. It's not supposed to be at 19,000.
No. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I've seen many other brothers and many other channels. They'll do topics on a variety of things, but the only time people come out is when there's chicks there, or it's a conversation about chicks. The lowest numbers they would get would always be when it came to self-improvement. So you're the only one that I'm aware of, MOT, who's been doing this successfully.
And that's the thing too. I think one of the major things is the simple fact that MOT has been about, he's shown and proven to be what he says he's about. So, for me, you can't do anything but respect it. For someone to say they're about something and every time you see them, they prove and show that they're about it. You can't, to me, you can't do anything but respect it. And Zero says, I agree with 100% with Lawrence because it used to be this way, but now you literally can't stop it. So just use them to see which men are not about what they say they are. I have to agree there, man.
What it is living and breathing quality control. No, it's the woman in the red dress from the Matrix simulation. That's
Ooh,
all it
Yeah,
is.
ooh, yes.
yeah, yeah,
Great
yeah. Fair
point.
enough. Fair
Great
enough.
point.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Fair
Wow.
enough.
But
Overall, it bleeds into the topic about who to save, who not to save, are you supposed to save, all that good stuff. Um, but yeah, like I said, that's overall that's been my concern watching everything the last few months, especially the last few weeks, especially. Um, but yeah, I'm done. I'm toast. Shit, I'm toast.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, but you have to realize that we have a process that creates a high number of failure. So
Mm,
any type of system outside of us that can prove the failure of people around us is a net positive. Doesn't seem
mm.
like it, but it's still a net positive.
Well, I know it's a net positive. Like the saying goes,
But
if you can say one, you know what I mean. I mean that's a good day. Um, the real issue is the pushback because when you start showing people their failures and their lack of ability, oh, that's going to be a day.
Well, yeah,
now,
and
now they can't handle it. They can't handle it. You know, it's a
Yeah,
day unlike
yeah,
any other. It's just
yeah,
like
exactly.
a man of tangibles versus a man of image. There is no comparison,
right.
True. Yep.
And you
none
know,
whatsoever.
and that's why that statement. It goes back to last week what I covered. On not looking back. I mean, look, whenever they show themselves to be there, look, you got to leave them back there with their ilk. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and you pretty much have to welcome that self destruction of them because it's going to happen. Um, like I said, we have to be. I mean, you have so many people that try and use the church and they try to use the Bible as a way to excuse the behaviors of these people.
Yeah,
But I mean, when you everywhere you look in there, it shows that God's not going to excuse it. It even says in there there's no fence sitters. You're either with me or you're not. There is no middle ground. You're either going
well, yeah,
this way or you're not. I mean, he even tells. I mean, that's why I wanted to do it on Abraham 2 weeks ago. The first thing he tells him is, look, get up, get away from your family, your relatives, your father's house, and go here where something is better for you. He doesn't tell them to stay there and try and save these people. He tells them to get away from them.
yeah, and that's my point. That was my point. Like I said last night in my conversation with Agon, there's always going to be an Edward, always, always, and not only will there always be an Edward, there will always be more of him than there are of you.
Mm.
So wasting your time in 2 hours going back and forth with somebody, again, we've already established, um, purpose doesn't align with yours is disrespectful. Not disrespectful to yourself because you're made of better things. You have better things to do than to waste that amount of time. The most precious gift we got is time. Do you really want to look back and say that you lost 2 hours of it with someone you already knew was broken? There's no logic in that.
And not only that, it's just downright dangerous. It's essentially like that old Indian proverb when the woman found a snake on the snow and she took it into her home, nursed it back to health, fed it throughout the winter, took care of it, and then when springtime hit, she went down to touch it again and it bit her. And she
Mm-hmm.
goes and she looks at the snake and says, "Why did you bite me? I took care of you and nursed you back to health." And the snake looked at her and said, "You knew I was a snake the moment you took me in. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't
Yeah.
take these people in because it is hazardous to your health. I mean, it's just
Yep.
straight hazardous for you."
I
Yep.
mean, and like people misunderstand the Bible, right? Like me, growing up as a fundamentalist Christian, I was never taught to look at people who were outside of the group as if they were brotherhood. Like my grandfather understood very clearly why those people were doing what they were doing, right? Because we were not considered part of their people, and and that's why they always use the Bible as justification because we were not quote unquote part of their group. So they didn't have to treat us as if they were part of their group.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the same mentality that's needed here. It's the exact same mentality. You're not part of this group, in any capacity. Nothing you're showing me receipt wise or otherwise shows that you are. You don't belong here. You can't come on this panel. You're going to be blocked in the chat, and I don't want to hear from you. Take that somewhere else. Go be with your people.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's just history. Whether you apply it to religious concepts, whether you apply it to racial concepts, cultural concepts, financial concepts, it is what it is. You hang with who represents or similar to you. You don't let other people from the outside who have no shared common interest come in, because it does not but create chaos.
Right. True. Yeah. That's it.
And that's what happens when you become too accepting, that you don't have any standards, and you'll be
Hmm.
quickly overrun by what you should have left out of the room in the first place with said standard.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that is it. I mean, you can't. I mean, and even there, when people try and misuse it, I mean, it even states in there two times. You got two statements in there. I can't remember exactly where, but it says in there, birds of a feather, they flock together, and then a
Hmm.
leopard can't change its spots. These people are who they are. So, I mean, associating yourself with these people, it means you have something in common with them.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
if it, I mean, it's it's ludicrous to sit up there and hang out with a liar and a thief if you don't lie and steal. I mean, I ain't got nothing in common with this, so there's no point in me hanging out with these people.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's similar to what I've taught my children over the years on how to choose their friends and who they associate with and who they call close. You have to keep in mind a turtle cannot teach a bird how to fly.
Right.
It just can't. It just can't. And when you're choosing your friends and your associates, keep that analogy in mind at all times. You know what I mean? So, you got to separate.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
separate. And like I said, and again, it's not a personal thing. It's just a factual thing. Because the only way it can work or be successful is doing it that way.
Well, it's a survival thing. If you want to survive, I mean, you have to, because I mean, these people come in. These people come in to tear you down. They come in to destroy you. So if you want to survive, you have to separate yourself from these
Hmm.
people. I mean, there is no other option.
And even scripture tells you to do that. I
Yes,
mean, I
sir.
mean, not just with Abraham, but if you look at the path of the people from Genesis to Revelations, it always constantly talks about separating yourself from those people.
Yeah, it does. I mean, even Jesus, whenever he went back to Nazareth, um, he had to leave home because the simple fact, he wouldn't return because of the simple fact they had nothing in common. These people, they didn't even want anything to do with what he was teaching. They had nothing in common, and because of where he come from, they think that they were better than him, even though they're nothing. They thought that he was nothing because of what he was trying to teach and leave them to help them. That's something I've heard MOT basically state before about whenever he goes back home to Mississippi. So you have to learn that even those people, you just have to separate from them.
Yeah, yeah, you do. And like I said, that's not just a statement in scripture. That's a commandment as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, most definitely.
But like I said, that's been the game plan since day one with Abraham. And like I said, you could see it throughout every other instance. I mean, whether he took them out of Egypt and separated them in their own space. You know, I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
It
It's
really
it's
does.
crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So, but like I said, it's as far as it goes for I mean, just the overall thing about the saving people. Um, like I said, that's my biggest concern as a whole. um, because, like I said, it's something we all do, intentionally or not. It's something we all do, but it's a situation where we have to be able to separate the idea of helping someone with saving someone, because they're not the same. And we really do have a tendency to do that, because not going to mention the name, but a lot of us have tried to help one brother in particular, and it got to the point where too many of us were trying to help, and that started changing into helping him to trying to save him. And
No,
you
I
can
mean, so far, you follow the plan so far.
say again.
Say it again.
No, you follow the plan so far.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool. Well, that's good. That's very good.
Yeah,
But like I said,
but, but,
but the
but
point I
I
was
gave
trying
him
to.
options that he couldn't refuse. I gave him
Oh, yeah.
exactly what he was asking for. He just now he has exactly what he wanted.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
now he has exactly what he wanted. All you have to do is just hook him up with the per capita people within the area to which he's looking for, which is his choice. So now you got exactly what he thought was impossible. So now, if you don't get the help now, and if you don't stay away from these people now, there's really no help for you at this point, because now you got everything
Ah,
that you asked for.
okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. I see what you did.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I see.
So, so,
You
so,
know that.
so
Yeah.
what I
Yeah. Yeah.
do, so what I
I
do
see
is
what.
I listen to the impediments to why they
Yeah.
don't want to change, and I remove all the options off the table to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
which
That's.
is the actual problem here. Is it the actual obstacles, or is it the person? So I'm like, okay, I can play it your way, and I can do a better job through your way than you think is impossible. So okay, so
Yeah.
here's everything. Everything you asked for. Everything you asked for. Names, pictures, all this kind of stuff. So now you don't have any excuse. So if I see
Yeah.
you around here and if you end up in the same situation, I'm just gonna block, because I'm just gonna assume that you don't want the type of help that I gave you. I gave you
Yeah.
your type of help that you claimed that you wanted and needed. So if it don't work this time, now I'm trying to save you and I ain't got time for that.
Yeah. 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 I see what you did.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. I see what you did. And that's interesting too, because I didn't think of that. And the reason I didn't think of that was because I was locked into, look, here's what you say, here's what you claim you need. You have to go do the work yourself. You have to go do the research, figure it out. But I get what you did. You literally left him no option. And sometimes you have to do that. And yeah, and I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. That was good, man. That was really good. Yeah, that was damn good. That was damn good.
Oh man, but man, this has been a wonderful stream. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. I want to thank my new subscribers. Thank y'all for subscribing to the channel. And my second channel. Um, I guess get ready. We about at an hour and a half. I got some stuff I got to do. I'm gonna close down. But
Mhm.
I appreciate y'all for coming out, MOT, Lawrence, and everyone in the chat. MOT, you got any final words?
Nah, man. It's just that with all problems in life, man, there is a way around them, but you gotta. It doesn't matter what the independent solution is. If your action isn't going to meet the solution where it is, it's never going to happen.
Right. I agree. Lawrence?
Same as always, men first.
All right. Well, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. And stay tuned. Next Saturday on my channel, the Go Take Gaming Verse, we'll be reviewing the latest animated DC movie, Batman, Death in the Family. I think that's going to
Yeah.
be a fun one to interview. I've already started looking at it, and it is a great one. So,
Especially all the endings.
I haven't got that far yet, but
Oh
I
my
haven't
God.
gotten that far yet. I think I'm about halfway in there,
Oh
and
man.
so I can't
So
wait.
good.
Yeah,
So
I
good.
can't wait to get into finish it up and get into the rest of it. I definitely got to take some notes on it. But yeah, that is going to be it's going to be a fun one to do. And invite any of y'all that like that type of nerd content, is Sober Provider Say the Nerd Pill. Just thank y'all for coming out, and y'all have a good one. Peace, everyone.
And if you didn't, hit that like button on the way out.
Yes. Thanks, Lawrence. Bye,
No
y'all.
problem.
All
All
right,
right,
thanks,
shalom.
everybody.